What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Studio presented by Saratoga Spring Water. I am here doing an interview for a movie that I can call my favorite of Sundance 2023. Gael, congratulations on Cassandro. I'm so happy that it's being so warmly and enthusiastically embraced here, but I can't wait for everybody out there to get to experience this film.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel a bit like, it makes me blush. So thank you.
You should be so proud. So only people at Sundance thus far really know what this movie is about. So for our viewership who does not know this story just yet, can you give us a brief description of your movie?
Sure. It's it's the story of Cassandro, who is the character that Saúl Armendáriz, wrestler from El Paso and from Ciudad Juárez, from El Paso, Texas, and Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico. He comes from there, and he created this character called Cassandro that belongs to the exótico strand of there's many divisions in Lucha Libre in Mexico, and wrestling. Can we just say Lucha Libre so as not to say wrestling all the time?
Yep.
Okay. So,
fine with that.
Okay, so Lucha Libre, they have different, let's say, groups, or categories, So there's the rudos, there's the técnicos, there's the exóticos, and he belonged to the exóticos, but him and his contemporaries, what they did was they subverted completely the way that Lucha Libre incorporated the exóticos and made these exótico characters actually win. We all started to support them. We wanted them to win, and so this is the story of an interpretation of the struggle and the victories of Cassandro.
So I was reading Roger's director's statement on this, and he mentioned that you were the one and only person he wanted to lead this film. Did you have that confidence in yourself when you first took the role? And if you didn't, at what point in the process did you find it?
Ever since he told me about the film, I was about the idea of Cassandro. I saw the photos of Cassandro and wow, yes, I was like, that would be great to dress up like that and to do the whole wrestling and I had never, Lucha Libre was not in my, what is it called? The like a list that you want to do in life.
Bucket list.
Yes, exactly, that one. Yeah, bucket list. No, it wasn't in my bucket list. Like it wasn't something I wanted to do. And then when the opportunity came, it was like, oh yes, of course, I should be. Yeah, I have to. I'm a Mexican actor. I have to do a Lucha Libre film one day. How come I'm not doing this? So I started to sort of dream with the idea and get excited by it, and little by little it started to take shape, and become something that, with all good things, like you never remember the initial point. It's always like difficult to say what was the initial idea. Like, it kind of built up into something way very complex, and yeah, by the time we were about to do the film, it already felt like I'm ready. I wanna do this and experience this.
With that in mind, what you just described, going into filming, what's a particular thing about his real experience or a quality of his that you knew you wanted to hold tight to and made sure we saw on screen? But then also, what is something about him that you only discovered during the production process as you explored the role more?
Okay, so start off by what I discovered whilst doing it, and this is something that maybe on the outside I already realized it was going to be complicated or difficult, which was the wrestling. Basically, Lucha Libre is an incredibly hard sport, but once you start doing it, you just don't realize how really hard it is, how almost monumentally hard it is. Like it's one of the most I cannot even put adjectives to it, because it's Lucha Libre. It's like mythological wrestling, it's fighting against superheroes and images, and kind of, because also it is a performative sport as well, so you have to embody the character, and you have to play with the audience, and you have to, so it was incredibly tiring, and film doesn't respect the organic timing of biological timing of cells. Like it's just so tiring, the whole shooting period of like 12 hours a day of doing the wrestling. It was really hard. Even for the wrestlers, was really hard. They were like, "Oh man, making films is a little bit boring, no?" And yeah, it can be tiring and boring sometimes. But then it's great when you watch them, no? So that was something that I discovered truly in my in my body, like whilst doing the film, and to incorporate that, it's like a kind of a very stylized way of interpreting or acting. Like you have to fight against being incredibly tired, and one of the things that I felt was special, but at the same time I didn't want to put a name to it. I just wanted to sort of gravitate or permeate the essential archetype of Cassandro's character that is so joyful, his joy, and that's why he became also very, very famous and transcendent in the Lucha Libre world, because he was a character that was having fun and that was enjoying and that was interacting, almost like in a drag show, like with the audience, and kind of just making everything lighter and happy, and at the same time, kind of breaking down taboos, like realizing that, taboos are not that big of a deal once you break them, they make a beautiful sound when you break them, but afterwards it's like this not a big of a deal. Nobody cared, every society was also kind of evolving, and so that joy was something that wanted to incorporate.
Great success in that department. The joyful spirit of this movie is infectious, and it basically sends you out the door with a full heart, feeling very energized and also inspired that no matter what you're experiencing, you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And also the fact that, what I like a lot as an audience, or fascinated by the thesis of the film in a way, is that in order to become yourself, you have to play someone else, and you have to play a character, you have to, because who we are is who we wish we are also. So for example, with I always said this when talking about this series called Mozart in the Jungle. I used to play this character called Rodrigo, and I miss him so badly, because he's the person I want to be. Like he would be my sort of my therapy for that year. Like 2 months of thinking out loud, no filter, saying what I think. I want to be that way. Of course I can't, but I would have loved. So that's the joy of acting and interpretation, to play other people, to play other, or someone you wish you were,
I love that thought so much. You brought up the athleticism of it all. I assume you went through a good deal of training to prepare for this. Was there any particular, like a technique or a specific hold or anything about the sport that you found most difficult to be able to pull off?
Yeah, well, I was at the beginning with the whole physical training. I was really happy. Everything hurt, but I was feeling stronger, and I was eating everything as well, because to have a lucha libre, body, it doesn't have to be like a macrobiotic sort of, chiseled body. No, it can be a little bit, full of energy, and and so that was very nice at the beginning, and then, when I started to do the lucha training properly, started to realize, okay, this is, every little centimeter of my body was just hurting and in such pain, pain that I couldn't even describe, It was like very internal, and I said last night, but amongst the many things that we used to do, it was this, that incorporates the lucha training, is like learning how to fall, no? So half of the training is just learning how to fall. So you have to fall many times and do it properly, in order not to hurt yourself. And of course, the first times you do it, you're hurting all the time. And then as the more time passes, you're not hurting that much, but you have to make a big sound as well of falling. So it is like going back to childhood, It is such a great sport that is is exactly what we used to do when we were kids, you know, like wrestling and then falling, you know. And
think about the sound, the sound when you hit the ring, and the sound when like they do slaps too.
Yes,
it's just like
exactly.
It reverberates through my body to the point that I feel like I could feel it.
Yeah, and you really hurt yourself. So I think that was the most difficult thing was, okay, and I'm an amateur wrestler in this sense, you know, because I mean, there's a whole thing of the professionalism that I never experienced. But Hijo del Santo, when we were doing the wrestling match together, he told me, like, I'm going to show you, like, old man's techniques, you know? It's like, what do you mean? Okay, come. So he would do so normally, you know, in the chokehold, you would do this, you know, or whatever, you know, and you would do this, that. But then with a little knuckle, he would put, like, some kind of pressure here, you know, and it would hurt so much, you know, and so everything, there's a point where he grabs my leg and does like a kind of it's just this kind of Chinese acupuncture points, you know, that just hurt like completely, disintegrate you, and that's something that real wrestlers do, you know, they know these little points, and so sometimes you would see like it's just you know, they're just holding each other, but they are actually, you know, hurting themselves. Like, and he's very strong and he's very hard. I mean, he's amazing. He helped us out a lot as well.
Yeah, athleticism of that sport never ceases to amaze me. I have to let you go soon. I could talk about Cassandro all day long. I have to squeeze in one future question.
Yes.
You probably know where this is going, because I told you I'm a big fan of horror. I love Werewolf by Night, and I love the idea of Marvel embracing horror more. I don't know, I'm sure you can't tell us anything about the continuation of that character in the franchise, but I was curious about your opinion on maintaining that tone and that style and that grasp on that genre. But if he were to move into another corner of that franchise, do you think there's a way to continue the character but still maintain what makes Werewolf by Night so unique?
Oh, cool. I thought that you were going to, for a moment, I thought that you were going to mention how Cassandro is going to incorporate into the horror world of Marvel. And that would have been like, why, yeah.
I mean, I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, let's do
Bring
that.
it on.
Let's do that, exactly. Yeah, of course, I would be delighted, because also it was just a little tease what we got, you know, and what I experienced by playing this character in Werewolf by Night. I loved it. And the people that were there, you know, with Laura Donnelly. I mean, it was fantastic to work with her, because she's a very strong, die-hard horror movie fan, you know, and it was fantastic to play that. And yes, I hope that we can do that in different ways, shapes, and forms, and that. And who knows where it's gonna go? I have no idea. But I'm really, I want to be part of that, and I really love the how it came out. Yeah, I'm very pleased. I love horror movies as well. I'm not a big fan because I get really scared, but I like them a lot. I think it's the most. It is like it is the genre that encompasses the best aspects of filmmaking. You know, it is like opera in a way. I love it.
I love all film. Horror is my number one genre, so I like that you say that. I'll end with this. You know what's right next door to Marvel? Star Wars.
Ah, yeah.
I wouldn't mind a world where maybe you appear in a future season of Andor.
That would be fine. That would be really fun. But they're in a galaxy very far away, and it's very difficult to find them. So yeah.
Diego just told me that the important thing about that series is to not make it feel like a galaxy far away and make it feel very grounded and real. So I think it's closer to all of us than
he's trying to get close to, yeah, he's trying to make me, okay.
I think he's carving a path for you to jump over there whenever you want. That's wishful thinking. I'm always rooting for it.
Cool.
Cassandro is a very special film. You should all be very proud. And I meant what I said. It's my favorite of the festival. And I can't wait for everyone out there to experience it. To everybody watching this, keep an eye out for the movie and stay tuned for more from Sundance 2023.